Rooh Afza is added to Khoya and Malai Paneer and shaped into small little pink balls. These are fried low and slow and then dropped into a gulab or rose scented syrup to soak up all of the liquid. They are super juicy on the inside. I'm going to start with the dough balls. I will be using fresh Khoya or Mava as well as Malai Paneer in this recipe. I'm going to start by grating 250 grams of Khoya. Khoya is nothing but milk solids that's used to make Indian sweets. It's also known as Mava. It's made by slowly simmering milk in a large iron or non-stick pan until most of the moisture evaporates, leaving behind a solid mass of milk solids. It has a creamy texture and a slightly caramelized flavor, and it's very popular in making a lot of Indian sweets. In India, you might get Khoya pretty fresh and you may just be able to crumble it versus needing to grate it. Now that the Khoya is grated, I'm going to grate the Malai Paneer. I've got 65 grams here, and basically Malai Paneer is made by curdling full fat milk, so it's a lot creamier than just regular paneer. Once both of these are grated, I'm going to spend 10 to 15 minutes kneading it. This is probably the hardest part of the recipe as the two need to be nice and soft. Because here in Toronto, the Khoya and paneer we get is chilled and quite hard, I like to take a small portion of it and just zap it for about 10 seconds in the microwave, and then I will return it to be kneaded. This is purely just to take the chill off so it's easier to knead. The goal here is to press down on the dough with the base of your palm and press it down and pull it. This will get rid of any small lumps. And if your dough is dry in spots, you can just add a teaspoon or so of milk to help knead this together. Add 1 teaspoon of baking powder and knead this in. Next, I'm going to add some flour. I have 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour here, but you won't need to use all of it if your dough is on the drier side. I find that the temperature of my kitchen plays a role as well. I may need to add more in the summer and less in the winter. To make a Rooh Afza version of these, I'm simply going to drizzle in 1 tablespoon of Rooh Afza syrup and I'm going to knead it in. This is totally optional, but if you want that beautiful pink color, I'm going to be adding a little bit of food coloring. Knead this well and add a little milk if your dough feels dry and allow it to rest for about 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to make the chasni or the sugar syrup. I've got 5 cups of sugar, and to this I'm going to add 3 3/4 cups of water. I'm going to allow the sugar to dissolve. Note that 5 cups is way more sugar syrup than you will need, but I like to have extra so my jamuns have plenty of syrup to float in. If you're making multiple batches, you can simply reuse the syrup. Also, many times I will freeze the extra syrup for another time, so it's not wasteful. To flavor this, I'm going to add 6 green cardamoms that I've just crushed. Now, this can't be gulab or rose without the flavor or scent of rose, so I'm going to be adding 2 tablespoons of rose water. Please note that this is rose water and not rose essence. Next, I will add a few strands of saffron. add the juice of a lime. This will prevent sugar crystallization later. Now I'm just going to leave this aside to cool. My dough has rested and now I'm going to start dividing it. You don't have to weigh the dough balls, but I do like to weigh them just so they're as uniform as possible. My personal preference is 10 grams as these will increase in size. As you weigh them, keep the rest of the dough balls covered with a cloth. If you see any small cracks, just use the heat from your palms to warm up the dough and roll it into a ball again. Now it's time to fry the jamuns. You can test the oil by inserting a small piece of dough. I have my oil heating up and my syrup has cooled down and it's just warm. The goal here is to get your oil to a medium temperature. It's also important to swirl the oil. This will keep all of the jamuns circulating. If they sit at the bottom for too long without moving, your jamuns will have dark spots. If your temperature is low, the jamuns will cook slowly, allowing them to expand. If the oil is too hot, they will get instantly brown on the outside too quickly, and then there's no room to expand. Once done, just gently drop them into the warm syrup. It's important for the syrup not to be hot as the jamun could break. Allow the jamuns to soak in the syrup for about 2 to 4 hours at room temperature or in the fridge. Any excess sugar syrup at this point can be reused for another batch. You can serve these delicious, juicy gulab jamuns warm or cold. Enjoy.